I'm appalled by what has happened. Milly Dowler's parents were in a tortured state, worried about the fact that she had been abducted, she'd gone missing, and it is just absolutely awful that they were given false hope by this kind of criminal activity that seems to have been going on. And I think members of the public right up and down this country will be appalled by what happened and will say British journalism, known for its highest standards, known for its history, has had one of its lowest days with these revelations.
Well, it's awful as an experience for the Dowler family. You would have thought that this, or they would have thought that this was all over. They've, firstly lost, we shouldn't forget they lost their daughter in the most atrocious circumstances, then had to go through the most awful criminal trial, the cross-examination of the father being put forward by the murderer Levi Belfield, who was convicted, and now to have to deal with this. It's just awful.
I've seen the statement put out by the Dowler solicitor, and I'd be like everybody else in this country who wouldn't feel dreadful, the way in which that must have added to the distress and the shock of that family. And I've got to be very careful. We have a criminal investigation ongoing here where people have been arrested and bailed, and so I have to be incredibly careful that I do not damage that investigation or prejudice it in any way. But I would simply say this, that if such behaviours have been alleged and in the stories, if they are proved, irrespective of the legality or illegality, I'm not too sure I know many people who wouldn't be repulsed by such behaviours.
One doesn't know, but it does. What this does show is that the individuals concerned do not appear to have been willing to stop at anything. They were really scraping the bottom of the barrel so much they went through the bottom of the barrel and below it.
I think it's inevitable that once the criminal inquiry is over and any related judicial proceedings, I think it's inevitable that there's got to be some further process where questions are going to need to be asked and answered. And those questions necessarily must incorporate the parameters of the original investigation, but I think they must go much wider than that.
What really needs to happen is an inquiry, a judicial inquiry, to find out exactly what happened, the full truth of it and the full extent of it, possibly not just for the News of the World, but the full extent of Fleet Street.
The culture, the practices of some parts of the industry bring into question the rest of the industry. And that's why we need, after the police inquiries are complete, a proper inquiry into the culture and practices which allowed these things to happen. And we need to look at the Press Complaints Commission, self-regulation. I'm a supporter of self-regulation. I continue to be a supporter of self-regulation of the press, but it hasn't been working.